a few music moments I wanted to mention and get what you recall. How about the best time you ever had with Madonna and Sean Penn?
You know, when they were living in Malibu, I remember one dinner where, it just seemed like, I thought my relationship was volatile, let's put it that way, so it had been talked about with my ex-wife. So then I felt more comfortable, you know, when I
Why?
Because theirs is even more volatile.
What would happen?
Well, they didn't throw punches in front of me, but you know, you could see that things, you know, Sean's a very intense person and Madonna's got her own. I don't know them well enough. I mean, I know Sean a little bit. I haven't seen much of them recently. So you're talking about ancient history, 30 years ago? And so at the time, it seemed like a normal thing, you know, but in retrospect, I would hardly call, I mean, my approach to life is different than Madonna's. I mean, she's obviously unbelievably successful, and Sean is also incredibly successful. And, you know, I'd shy away a little bit more than that, you know, in certain things. They took it to different levels than I did, but that's part of why it didn't last very long.
Spending time with Paul McCartney?
Well, I mean, I guess that you get certain perks with certain individuals that you wouldn't obviously otherwise get. And so when you actually get to meet him and know him a little bit, you're like, how this guy is, you know, one of the Beatles. You're talking about Paul McCartney, and this guy's one of the greatest, you know, human beings. You forget obviously how talented he is, but you get to see how a person, I mean, I've seen how a lot of people operate and try to learn from certain people, and I'm like, you can't get higher up in terms of, I mean, we all know how talented he is, but the way he operates as a human being.
How was touring yourself?
We had a great tour. You know, it was I called myself the most traveled unsigned band in history. But
you probably would have been signed, though.
I don't know about that. I always wanted to be like Santana. You know, that was like my, he was the guitar player, but I needed a singer. So, because I couldn't sing. I mean, I'd like to sing a little backup, but I'm not a good singer. So.
And you tried doing it both,
well,
but
I tried doing
like
it.
messing you up a little bit.
It's very difficult to sing and play at the same time, or at least for me. So when I started going out with Patty, and Patty had sort of been disillusioned by the music business to some degree, even though she got nominated for an Academy Award right when we met or started going out, and had sold a couple, you know, millions of records. It's not like she had success, but disillusioned.
Patty Smyth.
Patty Smyth, my wife, yeah.
Successful singer.
I thought, this is perfect. We'll play in a band together. Can't think of anything better. I'm gonna, you know, and she goes, I want to play mixed doubles with you at Wimbledon. And I go, you don't play tennis. And she goes, exactly. And she said after I played a show, she goes, if anyone's gonna play music now or tour, it's me, not you. And she wasn't laughing.
How'd you react?
You're right. You know, sometimes I make some pretty good decisions. I'd like to think I'm not stupid, even though I love music, but the more I play guitar, the more I appreciated my tennis. And that's absolutely true. My wife would put it pretty bluntly, I wrestled the guitar into submission. That's not a good thing if you're a guitar player.
You stopped touring right before you finished your first album. What happened to the album?
Hopefully it's burned. It's been thrown away.
You have it somewhere, though.
No.
Right?
I have some demos and stuff, and I was trying to do something, but you know what I did was, and again, this is because I was lucky enough to be able to do this. I had the luxury of putting in the contract that this is not going to be released until I think it should be released. And I have enough respect, I'd like to think, for the people in the, you know, other industries, that I have an understanding of what it's like to be good at something. And, you know, I don't want to take a job from someone because I'm John McEnroe and not because I'm good enough, or at least close to being good enough. And so I wouldn't release it because it wasn't good enough. That's why. I mean, I could have released it, you know, in the 80s, they asked me to release a record when I barely played. And they could have put a compilation and a bunch of singers and this, that, and the other thing. And then this one, I remember at Eddie Kramer at one stage, and Eddie was the engineer of Hendrix. You know, you've heard of him, Jimi Hendrix. And so I'm like thinking, okay, I go, Eddie, I can't sing, you know, I think it's become evident I can't sing, but there's stuff that's coming into being, I think it's Pro Tools and things. You can make me sound good. And then I would have considered, even if it was like, in a way, if it sounded good, that's what matters. Because there's some people that don't really sing that great that are out there. But I couldn't even do that. That's how, I guess, how hopeless it was.